Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the ADHD has just a touch of autism, where the true crime is as scary as the hauntings and unsolved cases. But the hosts never stay on topic for long. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em.
And I'm Meg.
Keep your arms, legs, and other extremities in the vehicle at all times, and enjoy the show.
Are you gonna bring me my
I want muffins.
If there's a chocolate chip one left, I would like chocolate chip, but if not, I will settle for banana nut.
I'll give you
I got
a
the banana
nut
nut for you.
How do we like the new setup?
I'm digging the new setup. You're so much clearer.
I can
Right.
I can actually hear you guys like loud and crystal clear, and I can actually.
Yay!
Damn, that is disgusting.
So how did that work? Like I know it's like a pimple patch.
It's hydra something acid.
Girl, I almost said hydrochlorothiazide.
It is not
Definitely not that.
hydrochlorothiazide.
It is definitely not that.
So this one is the one that has the micro darts in it.
Hyaluronic.
Thank you.
Mm.
And it like penetrated. I had a really bad one here that was like so I slept in it, and you can tell, like, you can see that. Look at that.
I mean, I can't, but you know, hold on. It's because my glasses are so dirty. That is gnarly.
Yeah.
So
I broke out in like stress pimples, and it's terrible.
So we let our listeners know in the last episode that you're kind of taking a hiatus.
I am
for mental health, you know, because we fully support communication on this podcast. If you need to take time off, I love you too.
You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
I know.
So pretty. So we fully support like mental health. If you're having a mental health issue, like 110%, if you're vocal about it, we're like, yeah, absolutely. Take whatever time you need, you know? And Emily's like, hey, I need to take a step back. And I was like, absolutely.
I'm doing the adult thing and quitting my toxic job and finding a new one.
I may also be finding a new job here soon.
And the best part is the Navy reached out to me for a job.
Oh, very nice.
That's
Girl,
good.
the benefits, dough.
I know. Get them benefits. The
They're
benefits
offering
be
me
nice.
$4 more than what I'm making right now. For like
And even
5
better-
hours less.
And even better benefits. Oh, hell yeah.
And instead of driving like 40 minutes down the way, it's 5 minutes down the road.
Yeah, it's right next to the
Yes.
house.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
Save that gas.
right? Gas is an arm and a leg. If I can just cut off a pinky, I'll be good.
Oh, there she is. It was
Yeah,
like she
no.
flipped out.
No,
No.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I don't give a shit if it's all that sugar.
So we were talking last episode. It's my turn.
Yes.
So I'm doing the story today, if you don't mind, Emily.
That's fine. I'm gonna mute myself so I can eat my muffin.
Well, eat your muffin.
Enjoy the muffin.
Enjoy the muffin. Ooh, I'm learning how to
It's a
make
chocolate chippy one.
Yes, I'm learning how to make hollandaise and poached eggs today. We're having that
Ooh,
for
very nice.
brunch. So for those of you who don't know, we're starting the ABCs, but we're doing them sporadically as necessary. I'm not doing that today, but what I am doing is a lovely story involving chickens. This is a Pandemonium Witches podcast trigger warning. The following episode contains graphic violence and gruesome depictions. Listener discretion is advised.
Is that a lovely story as in sarcasm?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I was hoping it wouldn't be, but
Is someone gonna fuck chickens? Please
I
don't
hope
fuck
not.
chickens. That's illegal.
So this
It's just so
guy,
wrong.
this guy is named Gordon Stewart Northcott, and this is the Wineville chicken coop murders. Yeah.
Okay, it's a murder, not bestiality.
No, murder, not bestiality. Yeah, we don't. No.
Yeah, I can dig that.
So it's known as the Wineville murders. It was too long, didn't read. We do this every episode. They were a series of abductions and murders of young boys that occurred in the city of Los Angeles and Riverside, California between 1926 and 1928. There was a movie that was super popular in, I think it was the early 2000s, called Changeling. That featured Angelina Jolie. And it was about a boy that was directly tied to this string of murders. He survived.
Oh, wow.
Boy's name was Walter Collins. He went missing in 1928. The state of California concluded that Collins was murdered by Gordon Stewart Northcott as a part of the Wineville chicken coop murders. So there was a boy that looked just like Walter. And the cops found him, sent him back to his mom in Los Angeles, and she goes, "That's not my kid. I know you guys are saying that's my kid. He doesn't look like my kid. He doesn't have the same birthmark as my kid. He's not my kid. He doesn't act like my kid." We'll get to that in a second. Let's start from the beginning. You ready?
Got to start somewhere.
Let's akuna your tatas and head on out. Wineville, California, in the early 1900s, was the site of a large agricultural running. My husband just running in peripheral.
That's fine. My shirt today says "Nope, not today." So when you're like Hakuna your tatas, and I just went,
Nope,
not today.
So Wineville, California, in the 1900s was a large agricultural and movie industry area. So for those of us who grew up in California, like myself and my husband, it's known as Mira Loma now, in the Jurupa Valley, based out of Southern California. So they changed the name from Wineville to Mira Loma due to these murders.
Oh, wow.
Mira Loma means from the hill in Spanish. The name change to help the town disassociate from the horrific acts that were completed on the poultry farm.
I mean, I can understand that.
Like, have you ever committed such a gruesome fucking act? They had to change the name of an entire goddamn town to erase it.
Yeah. That's
like,
what
holy shit.
Yeah, that's what this story is unfortunately about. So, trigger warning. Kidnap, sexual abuse, murder. And that's where it ends. You know, it's all pretty graphic. So, the city's name changed after this particular man, which is Gordon.
It's always men.
Gordon Stewart Northcott. I don't like the fact that it's on my phone. Please hold.
Choose the bear.
Playing holding music.
Always the bear.
Oh, now I could hear you, like in multiple. All right.
Oh, cool. So it's not just in my head this time. Awesome.
No.
At least not this time.
No. All right. Reason I couldn't see his name, it was because it was all the way up in the top in the header instead of like actually on it.
It was hiding in the corner.
It was hiding in the corner, but I did put, hold music because we have a lot of autistic and ADHD people listening in. Time out. I met somebody at Bath and Body Works yesterday because we had to get some refills for the bathroom.
Were they selling things?
Yes, they were selling. It was 2 for 1 type of deal.
I meant the person you met.
They worked there. But
which entirely plays into my pun of, oh, were they selling things?
Shut up.
Because they worked there.
So the girl that I met, she was very nice. I added her on Instagram, so let's give her a shout out. Killing it with Kala. So it's Kala Chrysler.
Woo.
Fabulous customer service. She was super, super nice. And I was like, of course I'm going to give you a follow back. I met you in person. I'm not gonna, but I told her, I was like, we dehumanize the villains on our podcast. We humanize the victims, dehumanize the villains. She goes, I'm all for that. And I'm like, plus it's a bunch of autism and ADHD. And she's like, I'm super down for that. And I said, perfect.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Boy, do I got a podcast for you. Okay, so back on topic. Gordon, I didn't have any play on names for him because Gordon's just terrible by itself. I have a cousin named Gordon. So
that's true.
Gordon?
Gordon. Huh?
Borden.
Borden. No, that's Lizzie. We can't confuse
That's true.
the two. So Gordon was born in Saskatchewan, Canada. You Canadians. On 11/9 of 1909. So 11/9
don't claim him.
Yeah, they don't claim him. Just like they don't claim Justin Bieber. And I don't blame them. He moved and was raised in BC, British Columbia, and finally moved with his parents to LA in 1924. So BC is like Washington, D.C. area. So Gordon asked his father to purchase a plot of land in Wineville. By buying this land, he was able to build a chicken ranch, a house, and with help of his nephew by the name of Sanford, he was able to start a construction business. Guys, how many serial killers have we talked about that are in the construction business?
Too fucking many.
It's like once they get a hammer, they're just a little too happy.
They like swinging that hammer a little too much.
You know, just call him Thor. So March 10th, 1928, 9-year-old Walter Collins disappeared, which was the boy that I mentioned earlier. He was last seen at 5 p.m. by a neighbor in Lincoln Heights, which is still Lincoln Heights today. His mother, Christine Collins, gave him some money to go see a movie at a nearby theater, which is actually still there. His father wasn't around, though, as he was in Folsom State Prison for robbery. Good old robbery. The LAPD was at this time under investigation for corruption, as well as several other scandals, and thus were under pressure to solve this case as quickly as humanly possible.
Yeah, we're not surprised.
Right. So per the police chief, James Davis, they were unable to find anything of any substance. However, it wasn't until a gas station attendant in Glendale called. His name was Richard Struthers, the attendant that actually ran the gas station. He called in stating he had seen a dead boy wrapped in a newspaper in the back of a car of a foreign couple when they came to him asking for directions.
I'm getting flashbacks to not Dahmer, but another one.
It was the one that you did, Rachel. Wait, hold on. Emily, mute yourself. What if we talk? Can you? I don't hear any echo on my end.
I don't hear any echo on my end either.
Emily, you're the culprit. You are the murderer.
I knew it. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Should I just stay muted?
That makes me sad if you do.
I don't know. I haven't touched anything.
Well, what about your connectors? Everything connected?
Yes.
I don't know then.
I'm just glad it's not me being the problem this time.
I'm keeping all the shit in. Fuck you, bitches.
Look, man, I know my boss was saying that I'm the drama, but damn.
Okay. You ready?
What do I do?
I think mute yourself when I'm talking.
Okay.
And then unmute yourself when you want to talk and then mute it back.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
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 Okay. So
we'll get this figured out eventually.
It's fine. It's okay. We'll figure out a setup for you. So this boy that is wrapped in newspaper in the back of the car. Another man by the name of C.V. Stanley followed the couple when they left the station. So the station that they asked for directions. Shortly after, the couple stopped by a local police station and then sped out of town. Stanley obviously lost sight of the couple, but when the police showed the photo of the Collins boy to the two men, they both said the boy was in the back of the car. So was he in the back sitting, or was he in the back wrapped in newspaper?
Because there's a big difference.
Right. So then there were other tips coming in about the couple traveling across the state with the boy in the back begging to be saved and let go. But at Folsom Prison, the Collins father was under the assumption that his son was kidnapped by an inmate's family and friends in order to get revenge on him. So he began working in the cafeteria and began being a narc, and by do so, he kind of made more enemies than friends.
Yeah, unfortunately, it kind of happens.
Yeah. Well, Walter Collins wasn't the only boy to go missing. So he was the one of note because his father was in jail. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it wouldn't be a real humdinger without more than one, right?
Of course.
Well, Nelson and Louis Winslow, brothers 10 and 12 years old, went missing on their way home to Pomona, May 16th, 1928. Pomona is still there. Their parents stated that they have received strange letters from them in the mail. First said that they were heading to Mexico, and the second said that they plan to stay missing as long as they can become famous.
That doesn't make sense.
No. Of course, the LAPD was still on their antics about the whole shtick.
Of course, because now they're just doubling down on it.
Right, the bribing, the lying, the theft. So the police didn't connect the two disappearances at all. At first. Not only that, there's more.
Of course there's more. There's
always more. They also didn't find a connection between these cases and the headless body of a Latino boy found in La Puente, which was found prior to Walter going missing in February. Yeah. So, with none of the connections made, the neighbors' complaint about a man mistreating his boy at a poultry farm didn't appear to be relevant either.
Of course not.
So, there's all these notifications made of missing boys, of
Bless you.
of, this guy Gordon saying all these things, right? So, Gordy, August 1928, the Illinois PD retrieved a boy who stated his name was Arthur Kent. Originally, the boy stated that his father abandoned him, and the IPD placed him with a temporary family. After a while, he said that his name was Walter Collins. Right.
So he's changing his story now.
Right. He said he had been...
I could change my name as easily as that.
I mean, that would be kind of nice, but unfortunately, you guys saw with me, I had to jump through literal hoops to get my name changed.
It's much harder nowadays.
Yeah, I hate it. So the boy said that he had been avoiding further interaction as he stated he was trying to protect his father. IPD contacted the LAPD and then contacted Christine Collins. She immediately stated that the boy was not her son. The previous captain, you remember him? The one that lies, bribery, Capitalism.
The whole reason they were being looked into to begin with.
Told him verbatim, try it out. It might be him. The goal. I know.
I mean, I would pretty well assume that she should know her own child, especially, birthmarks and everything.
Right. A mom knows their kid. Right? Even though you're a fur mom, all of us are moms. Right? I'm a mom to adopteds. Yeah. Emma's a mom, and you're a mom to kittens.
Yes.
We love our kids. So 3 weeks after the
Sometimes.
So 3 weeks after the supposed boy returns to his mother, she tried to return him with dental records.
I mean, dental records don't lie, usually.
They don't lie, stating it wasn't him, along with several witness statements from neighbors, family, and friends who all agreed with her as well that this was not the boy. The ludicrous captain at the LAPD stated that she was, quote, a lunatic, and that she was trying to surrender her son, these are all in quotes, so the state would pick up the bill, and that she was trying to embarrass him and the whole police department. But getting more agitated didn't bode well for the police captain, so he tossed her into the LA General Psych hold under a Code 12. And I put in small notes, does this plot sound familiar? It should, because it was used to make the movie The Changeling. So if you haven't seen it, it's a good movie. It fucked me up, man. Moving on.
Of course it did.
Moving on. In September 1928, a woman from Canada, you remember where Gordon's from, okay? Saskatchewan. Okay, Canada. Winifred Clark. She contacted the U.S. police force to let them know her son, Sanford, was being held captive in California. You remember Sanford, right? Talked about.
Yeah, the one on the poultry farm.
Mm-hmm. Well, his sister Jessie was worried about her brother, who's 15 at the time. And since he left 2 years prior with her uncle Gordon, who was only 21. Well, Jessie Clark went to the ranch to see what was going on in Wineville. And while being there, she found out that her brother was not only being attacked, but that Uncle Gordy attacked her as well.
Oh my God.
Yep. Gets worse.
Of course it does.
Not only that, but he was involved in something strange, she said. So, September 15th, 1928, Sanford was questioned by the LAPD, who stated that his Uncle Gordy did indeed kidnap him, and had also molested him and physically harmed him as well. He then told investigators that Gordy had forced him to watch the abuse and subsequent murders of his victims, which were as follows.
Oh, wow.
Walter Collins, Nelson and Lewis Winslow, and countless others. Gordon abducted the boys to abuse them and rape them, and when he got bored, he would lead them to the incubator room on the chicken ranch. So on the chicken ranch, the incubator room is used to hatch chicks.
Yeah.
He used that room to murder them with an axe.
Oh my God.
To further destroy their bodies, he then covered their bodies with quicklime. Do you guys know what quicklime is?
Explain it for the listeners that don't know.
Okay. So quicklime is one of the things that's used for heating limestone. The definition is white, caustic, alkaline substance consisting of calcium oxide, which is obtained by heating limestone, and which combined with water is the production of much heat lime. And it's used to neutralize reactions. It's used in steelmaking to further harden the iron. and helps purify the steel. But for a body, it was thought in the early 1900s to accelerate decomposition. However, studies have shown as early as the 2020s, quicklime delays decomp.
So he was trying to use it in his favor, but it backfired.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Backfired real bad. And that's why I've been smiling this whole thing, because he got caught real bad.
Well,
you know,
consequences of his actions.
The consequences of your actions now. Emily's literally singing muted at the same time and laughing, because this is what we sing to each other when somebody fucks up that we know in our circle.
Congrats, Fafo, bitch.
Fuck around and find out.
Yep.
So Sanford continued and stated that his uncle did in fact kill the headless Latino boy in La Puente. He admitted that they both killed Walter Collins because the boy had seen Gordon help another man kill his mining partner. So not only did he kill boys, he also killed subsequent another man.
Of course.
He told the police that they could find the burial plots or graves of the boys that were missing. 2 graves were indeed found. However, the entire bodies were not found, just bone. Axes and other farm equipment were found to have traces of human hair, bone, and blood on them, as one does. Several human bones were found scattered around the ranch, which were found by pathologists to be determined of male children. Inside the house, this is where he got real sloppy and real dumb.
Had to do it somewhere.
They always get sloppy. Always.
They always get sloppy. Inside the house.
Dumb.
And dumb. Inside the house, a book was loaned to one of the Winslow boys from the local library. I don't know if y'all know about libraries, but they have your name when you rent a book.
They keep meticulous records.
As our librarian can tell you, yes, I do. More letters that were signed from the Winslow boys were also found. A whistle belonging to a child as well as a Boy Scouts badge was found. However, nothing belonging to Walter Collins was found on the premises. Suspicious.
Very suspicious.
Bless you. Ew. Okay, I don't know what Emily's doing, but ugh. Northcott's father, Cyrus, told police a few days later that his son had admitted the murders to him. But by that time, Northcott and his mother, Louise Northcott, had fled.
Of course they did.
Yep. So, Mommy Dearest came down to help. The LAPD initially continued to insist that Christine Collins had her son. They only discontinued this belief when a handwriting expert came in to analyze their handwriting styles. The expert concluded that this boy's handwriting was definitely not a match to the samples written by the previous years. The strange R's the boy used was commonly taught in Illinois, but not in California. An R. So the mom knew. All moms know. But the mom knew. And they didn't believe her for how long? Take a guess. How long it had been?
She probably also thought that she was going crazy.
Mm-hmm. She did.
Because they kept insisting she was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was several years, wasn't it?
Nope. You think it is, right? It's not. 3 weeks.
Okay.
That's not long at all, though.
No.
But back then, that is a long time because that was the Dust Bowl era.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where a week is a long, yeah.
I mean, nowadays a week is still a long time, just
right. Not as, bad. So The kid confessed to the LAPD that he wasn't Walter Collins, but he also said who he was originally. He had several aliases, and he said that he decided to try to pass off as Walter when someone said that he looked like him. Arthur Hutchins, 12 years old, had assumed Walter's identity in an attempt to go to Hollywood to meet his cowboy hero, Tom Mix, who was huge in Hollywood. He wasn't sorry or remorseful for anything he had done or any of the harm that he had caused. He then said that Christine knew and that it was a game for the two of them.
Wasn't a game for her.
You're right, it wasn't. His stepmother picked him up in Los Angeles and took him back to their Illinois home. Shortly after Arthur was home, Christine was finally released from the institutional hold.
Poor woman.
I know. But we're getting to the good part of the story.
There's a good part?
For some justice.
Okay.
So, on September 20th, 1928, Mr. Gordy, was finally arrested by Canadian Mounties. For those of you who don't know, Canadian Mounties are very nice until they are not. You fuck with a Mountie, let me tell you. They fuck up some moose, man.
Mounties terrify me. My child met a Mountie, and she said on their horses, they're fucking tall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because you got basically a humongous horse that's like
a Clydesdale height, right?
They're because they have a set height that the horses have to be. I want to say it's like 16 hands or something, which is huge.
Aren't they taller than a Clydesdale?
No.
They're Emily says, I got it. Okay. So I have met one Canadian Mountie, and it's because I went for a drive. I would go on long drives, and I went up, and I went up, and I went up, and it was summer.
14 to 16 hands.
Yep.
Which
Holy
is 56
shit,
to 6. Yeah, which is 56 to 66 inches. So they're tall.
And they have to be either black, bay, brown, or chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
And they weigh between 1,000 and 1,400 pounds.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just got very excited.
No, you're fine. No.
So apparently the Mounted Police breeds their own horses that are black and 16 to 17 hands high. Until recently, they were 3 to 4 to 7 to 8 thoroughbred, but in 89, Hanoverians were purchased to improve bloodlines because they were kind of inbreeding them at that point.
Right.
The horses began basic training at 3 years of age and musical ride training at age 6. So they do like parades and stuff and be.
So they do like the Tempanote? You know? Tears all up in your face, man. He's just
all I see is nose.
Just nose all over the camera. No. Quick, small story time. I went to Canada by accident because I had just gotten sick and I had just finished getting some stuff done at the hospital. And so I got an okay from my doctor and I drove for hours. I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, I ended up at the Canadian border and they were just like, hey there, how you doing? And I was like, where am I? He goes, Canada. Do you have a passport? And I was like, I just went for a drive. He goes,
I have no idea how I ended up here, sir.
Oopsie, I went too far now. Excuse me, I gotta go back.
Whoopsie, just went a little too far there. So he's just like, oh, that's okay. We're just going to make a turnaround and then we're just going to go on back. Do you need anything? Are you okay? Do you need to call somebody? And I said, no, I'm fine. I just needed to clear my head. And he goes, how long you been driving? I was like, about 2 days. I should probably get some rest. And he goes, there's a hotel right over there. Let's go ahead and turn around and, wake up the next morning, got into the hotel. Nice hotel. And it was at the Washington border. Wake up the next day and there's some Mounties just hanging out there. And he goes, "Hey, do you want some donuts?" Nicest guys ever. However, they see this car just speeding through the checkpoint. He goes, "Gotta go." And he just drops the donuts and you see this horse just take off. And I was like,
oh yeah, they're fast.
I wonder what their top speed is now.
I have no idea, but that was fast.
Oh, I'm gonna look.
So after that, I was like, I am only going to Canada on a plane or in a bus.
I mean, they're bred with thoroughbred. They're
bred with
Canadian
thoroughbreds.
breeds. the breed of horse that they use, I think they can do some distance.
Well, they have to be able to because they have to be able to go the border.
Oh, yeah. But also be sturdy enough to withstand like rocky terrain and everything. What'd you find them?
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
So this is from the official like mounted police website.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Oh, their horses' names are Apollo and Bud.
That is so cute. Send it in the group chat.
There's Apollo, Bud, Brockton, Fergus, Flex, Nelson, Spur, and Stanley. On average, they gallop 44 kilometers an hour, but they can top out at 88.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, they get fast.
We just totally rabbit holed this shit.
What? Did you know they were first formed in 1908 with 11 officers and 12 horses?
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't with the accents, guys.
So.
Sorry.
It's fine.
So, my aunt, I love her to death. I miss her so much. She's making a face. Oh, it's because Tear's laying in her lap. That's adorable. Oh. So, we're going to go back to the story. All right. So, he was arrested by Mounties. They arrested the mother in Alberta. On the same day. In December, they took Gordy back to his ranch in an attempt to get information from him. So, these Mounties took him there. While there, he confessed verbally to 5 murders, including the Winslow brothers, Walter Collins, and the headless Mexican boy, who was named Alvin Gothea. So they had no name for him for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think it was like a total of 6, but still, almost a long time. However, later that day, Northcott only admitted to 1 homicide in a written confession, and that was the murder of Alvin Gothea. All of this information is good, yeah?
Yes.
However, there is a wrinkle with all this.
Of course there is.
Due to the issue with extradition paperwork, Gordy and Sarah Louise were not sent back to LA until November 30th. So
of course,
they got arrested in September. So they were in Canada for 2 years. Or 2 months, excuse me. Later in December, Northcott's mother confessed to the murder of Walter Collins. She said she delivered the final blow to the boy and then buried him in a hole near the chicken coop. Yeah. That's nasty. Sanford Clark said that his grandmother had told him that if they each hit the boy, then they will equally be guilty if caught. The fuck? Yeah, I know.
There's so much wrong there.
There definitely is. Sarah Louise Northcott was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Walter Collins. Gordy's trial, however, began not too long after he was arrested in January 1929. Emily is taking a potty break.
Okay.
Not only did he fire several attorneys. He then tried to defend himself.
I feel like that's a really bad idea.
It's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea. It's super bad idea. Oh, and his jury was all made up of men.
Yeah, because it was the 20s, so...
The prosecutors claimed it was too gruesome for female.
Because hysteria and all that shit.
Yeah, but speaking of which, back in then, they cured hysteria with orgasms, so...
Yeah.
But same. So he proceeded to defend himself. Like, that's ever a smart move. He admitted abusing young boys because he loved them and cared for them.
It doesn't mean you have to abuse them and abduct them.
Right.
You can love from a distance.
From a distance, there is harmony. ASPCA, 1990s.
Yep.
He even had his mother testify for him on his behalf. Shocking, but not shocking. On the stand, in a complete and utter twist, his mother claimed that she was not his mother, but rather his grandmother.
Bum, bum, bum.
Dun, dun, dun. Want to know what happened?
Always.
Her husband raped her daughter, Winifred.
Of course he did.
So, Miss Northcott was, or Gordy, was Winifred's son. Emily's texting in the chat. He fucking what? Yes. So, Duddy Dearest raped little sister. And that's where Gordy came from.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon also claimed to have an incestuous relationship with his mother, Sarah Louise. And that his father had also molested him as well. Let's just digest that for just a second.
Kat, you didn't mute yourself.
I am well aware I didn't mute myself. The listeners need to know how bottom of the fucking barrel that shit was.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was just whoops, I forgot to do that.
No, that was on purpose. I heard it in one episode and I decided it was funny and I was like, I'm going to do that again. Do you keep getting out?
What?
Do you keep scrolling out and scrolling back in?
I went down a rabbit hole with the mounted police horses.
Oh, yes, with the Mounties.
So yes. I finally decided I needed to stop that and exit out of that. I will look at that later.
So, his defense was rather odd, and it became obvious to the jurors that he indeed was not a lawyer. Along with the strange defense, Sarah Louise, his mom, didn't prove to be very credible, since the only continuous statement she made was that she would do anything for her beloved son, Gordy. Of course she would. They were in love.
That's how you murder people. That's how people get murdered.
Yeah, incest is not best, guys. On
not
February
on
February 8th, an all-male jury convicted Gordy for the first-degree murders of the Winslow brothers and an anonymous victim, which is Alvin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Alvin?
I believe so. Sounds right.
Alvin, yeah. Alvin Gothea. Although he was George R. Freeman sentenced him to death, and although he was convicted and sentenced to death, the families of the victims did not have the closure due to the inability to find intact bodies.
I mean, it makes sense.
So this was back in the time where you had to have a full corpse in order to be charged with death.
Which is some bullshit. Because they ain't getting any deader just because they ain't in one piece.
I know. It's insane. Like, I know now, like, why they did it back then. It's because they didn't have the forensics that they do now. But they needed the full body in order to do weight and height and that kind of thing, because that's how they did it back then. Now you just need a skull, a leg bone, and a pelvis. You know, you don't really need a whole lot.
This is true. I mean, still a lot, but...
Right. So, Gordy was eventually hanged on October 2nd, 1930. Let me just... A little golf clap action. Shortly after his execution, the Wineville chicken coop murders were finally put to rest, and the citizens decided to change the town's name.
Can't blame them.
So, later, it was speculated that Gordy may have killed as many as 20 boys. The state, however, could not produce evidence to support that speculation. Ultimately, the state brought an indictment against Northcott for the murders of the unidentified underage Mexican boy, Alvin, also known as the Headless Mexican, and the brothers Louis and Nelson Winslow, aged 12 and 10. He was hung at San Quentin State Prison. Now, for people who are listening who know me, Rachel and Emily know I lived 20 minutes from San Quentin. I would drive as fast as I could past that place because it is...
It's haunted as fuck.
It is so haunted. I had to go there twice to... because of my ex, because he was in there. And he had to apologize for everything that he had done. And after the first time, I was like, I'm never going back there. And the judge didn't make me. He was very nice about that.
Good.
So, he was hung at San Quentin. San Quentin was known for their death procedures. They were very, very good. They were very well trained. However, the rope failed to break his neck.
Did his head pop off instead?
No, instead, it resulted in it taking 13 minutes for him to die from strangulation from hanging.
Well, I'm glad he had an agonizing death.
Yes, me too. He suffered. That's what we want.
He deserved it.
He definitely deserved it. So, Sanford Clark, which was his nephew, okay, served a short sentence at the Whittier State School for Boys for his role in the crimes. The building where that was is no longer there. It's an apartment complex now, but it is very haunted as well.
I would believe so.
He then moved back to Canada, and he served in World War II, married, joined the Postal Service, and led a quiet but normal life. Which is good, because he was primarily abused by his uncle.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with the murders. He was made to watch. Feel better? Good. Christine Collins.
20 pounds lighter.
Oh, there you go. Good job. Well done. I'm so proud of you. Yay for pooping. So Christine Collins couldn't move on so easily as the others did. And, unfortunately so, because her son was murdered. And she was told, this boy is your son. And she's like, nah, fam.
And then thrown into the loony bin because she didn't take the men in charge's word.
Right. And this was back at a time where women were young, dumb, and stupid. We never were. Some of us were. But
I mean, some of us still are, but
we're not pointing fingers at anybody, but we all know them.
Yes. There is at least one person in your life that is all of the above.
And if you don't know them,
you probably are them.
Yeah. So she filed a lawsuit against the LAPD and Captain Jones and Chief Davis for how they handled her son's case.
Good.
And the further results of her false imprisonment for a code 12. However, the police commissioner protected both the chief and the captain. The city recommended removal of both men, but they were later reinstated.
Of course they were. This is why you were getting investigated.
Yes, for the embezzlement and the lying and the corruption and the capitalism.
All the things.
All the things. So, they were told by the courts to pay restitution on several occasions. Although, neither of them ever did.
Of course not.
Shocking. Oh my goodness. She then met with Gordy before the trial, again 2 days before his hanging. He told her,
because she's trying to get any kind of closure.
Any sort of closure, anything at all. He told her and insisted that he was not guilty the 2 times she met with him. And that he has no recollection about her son and that he never touched him or killed him. So she spent the rest of her life until her death searching for Walter.
Poor lady.
I know. And that is the story of Gordon Stewart Northcott, the real changeling, and the Wineville chicken coop murders.
I hated it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Glad I could
You're
make you.
a great storyteller. Has anyone told you that?
You really are.
Your rent was due.
Thanks. Thanks for being a dick.
How can I be what I don't have? Well, I can't say that. Heavy is the hips that wear the strap.
Wow. So, I have to say, so when I was doing research for this, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole when it came to California in the 1920s. And there was a lot of stuff that wasn't noted. Like a lot of stuff that went on that really wasn't discussed. So there was like, did you guys ever watch the show Carnival?
I don't think so.
Kind of.
So I had the full disc series of both seasons. I apparently only had one when I moved here, which leaves one person responsible for having the rest of the discs.
Oh wait, that's copywritten. Womp womp. There we go.
Womp womp womp. So, which is fine, but during the Dust Bowl, during that time, there were these traveling circuses. So, allegedly, there were a few other things that were thought that Walter Collins did. He could have gotten with one of these traveling freak shows. They had prostitutes, they had people covered in tattoos, bearded ladies, that fun jazz.
All sorts of oddities.
Okay, low-key, side note, I fucking wish, like, some more ethical parts of the freak shows were still here, because I want to be an exhibit at the freak show. Come look at this young lady covered in tattoos.
I mean, there is a freak show. One of my friends is part of that. Well, used to be part of that freak show. There were 3 sects out in New Jersey and New York. So the Jersey Shore has a freak show. I don't know if she's still there. Her and I were internet friends for a while. She's a contortionist. She's very good at what she does. She fits into tiny boxes. I don't know how she does it. She's super flexible. So, anyways, so I was reading all about these other thoughts, these other conspiracy theories, as it were, for where Walter could possibly be, because they had no body for Walter, but he was charged for his murder. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he could have gone with the traveling circus. He could have been abducted and killed by somebody else. He could have gotten lost, because where they were, there is a desert area. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name. Death Valley. Death Valley, which is not that far away. It's maybe like an hour or two. He could have walked and gotten lost in Death Valley. It is very common to get lost in Death Valley and to just die in there. They've had there's warning signs all over entering Death Valley. Do not hike in here if you do not know what you're doing or where you're going.
Because you lose cell phone signal, you quickly just get disoriented.
There's a reason it's called Death Valley.
And then you get dehydrated, and
right.
the disorientation gets even worse.
Mm-hmm.
All the things.
All the things. And it's like, for those of you who don't know, I've traveled all over the California coast and all over inland California as well. Death Valley is one of those places I will never go to.
Is it never go to or never go to again?
Both.
Okay.
Because my car, it was nighttime, when it happened. It was very cold in that area, which is surprising. And
well, the desert gets cold at night.
I didn't know that. Like, this was back when I was young, dumb, and stupid and full of drugs. And I was getting sober, it was right after rehab, and I was getting sober and everything. And I broke down on the side of the road with a busted tire, and I'm trying to use the tire iron, and it's not working because it's late. I'm tired. I've been driving all day. But how eerily quiet that area gets, it's like something washed over me, and I was like, that's my ESPN is...
Yeah. El spookies.
Les spookies. Yes. Mexicans against spooky shit. Spectacles, testicles, watch and wallet. So
I feel like that place would be like hella haunted too.
It is.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Not just by human spirits either.
No, I mean
normal animal spirits. It's got some paranormal shit there.
Yeah, like I bet there's tons of windy boys.
Lots of windy boys.
All of them.
And as far as the haunted ABCs go, we were looking at episodes. We were looking at California. Alcatraz prison is noted as the most haunted in California, which is true. However, there are 3 places that contend for first place, which is the Cecil Hotel, Alcatraz prison, and there's a place, the theater in LA, which is also notably one of the most haunted places, which is known as the Chinese Theater.
I could see all those.
That's where they have all the movie premieres, is at the Chinese Theater. But, however, I've been to Hearst Castle, super haunted. Winchester Mystery House, super haunted. I've been up north on the 17 coastline, super haunted. A lot of places in California are super fucking haunted, but they're talking about like actual, like, I touch your arm and there's bruises kind of haunted.
Yeah.
Never going to Alcatraz again. But I can say I have been down to Southern California into some of these towns. A lot of them aren't super haunted, but they're not places I would want to stay at.
Like, a lot of it's probably just like residual energy. But like Alcatraz, Cecil Hotel, the Chinese Theater, it's much more the spirits are trapped there.
Right.
Or they don't want to leave.
Yeah. Emily, what are you looking up? So, with that being said, that was our story for today. I did not have fun. I had fun looking at the conspiracy theories. I did not have fun researching how these poor boys died. I tried to do it as less gruesome as humanly possible. I didn't want to get into the full details, even though my research had full details.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do what I did.
I had enough spoons.
I had to post a trigger warning. This is coming out after the fact. I had to post a trigger warning on our Facebook and our Instagram I will go ahead and read
For our
it
last two episodes.
for our last two episodes.
I'm sorry.
We have great episodes coming out, but there's a few episodes with a bit more gruesome than normal. These episodes are being aired on 6/21, 6/23, 6/28, and 6/30. We have entered trigger warnings for your protection, but just in case, do not listen to those episodes if you are having a faint heart or cannot handle gruesome depictions. P.S. Let us know if you want trigger warnings like this in the future as well. So this way, if you guys listen to these episodes and you go, hey, I really like the fact that you gave me a trigger warning on your Instagram or on the Facebook, please let me know. Let us know. Let either Em or Rachel know, or post it in the group. Everybody can post in the group as well. I don't have the thought to block people from posting in there unless you're posting about your business, in which case, please don't. We have Small Business Saturdays for a reason. So that is it for today. Meh.
Was definitely not fun.
Not fun.
At least he didn't fuck the chickens.
I'm
just happy about that.
At least he didn't fuck the chickens. I am happy about that.
Like, the sad part is that's the only like that, and researching the mounted police horse. That's the only enjoyment we got out of this episode.
I am fucking terrified of those horses now. Why are they so fucking fast?
Bro, like being next to those horses, like I felt
they're very tall.
I'm already short. By the way, I was able to access my military file with the trick here. Did you know I lost inches in height? I was at 5'3".
Your spine compresses.
I was at 5'3". I am at 5'1.5".
I mean, so did Chris.
Well, yes, but that's also because Chris's spine is broken.
Your spine compressed, and so you lose inches.
Yes.
I apparently grew in the military. I joined at 5'5", and I left at 5'5.8".
Mm-hmm.
The fuck? Tell us your secrets.
She hyperextended herself.
Trauma. Of course. Never mind. We're not doing chia pets.
Why not? It's the only thing that grows around me. And not me.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm gonna go take a shower because I smell like ass.
Oh my god. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Next time on the Pandemonium Witches.
Literally at the juncture of US Route 6 and Route 95.
That place is super fucking haunted. I'm down.
I know.
That's
why I was like, oh, this is perfect. On my note says, much haunted places, much ghosts, much pretty scenery, much wow.
Such wow. Such spookies. Ooh, ghost.
However, no injuries were reported. It was also the largest earthquake in Nevada since 1954.